Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Andrea Solorzano, and on this channel we talk all things about manifestation, personal development, and self-growth. So if you like that kind of content, go ahead and like and subscribe, and let's get right into the video. The title of this video is How to Manifest Your Dream Partner. Even though you may be wanting to manifest your dream partner, this will actually work for everything else that you desire. I decided to manifest my dream partner probably about a few years ago. I want to say like 3 years ago. And the reason why I decided that I wanted to manifest my dream partner was because I felt like I had been doing the work, and honestly, it was one of the things that I knew I can manifest because I was always good at receiving a male for some reason. Like, I always felt like having a boyfriend was easy for me. I was in high school, I had a boyfriend for 3 years. After high school, when I went to college, I had a boyfriend for 4 years, and so on and so forth. I've dated other guys and stuff, but those were my longest relationships, and I never felt like I had a hard time keeping a guy around. I was just always thought like relationships I was good at, like not only like romantic relationships, but also friendships. I've always like had friends that I've kept for a really, really long time. Even to this day, I still have friends that I know and I'm close with from elementary school. So this is just something that comes naturally to me. You don't necessarily have to use this method for just relationships. You can also use this for other things as well. Let's go ahead and focus on manifesting your dream partner. When it comes to manifesting your dream partner or anything else that you desire, what you need to focus on first is your worthiness. Your worthiness allows you to have the things that you desire. What do I mean by worthiness? What does that mean? So I mentioned this in one of my other videos, is that you just being here, just being alive makes you worthy, right? So God, universe, source manifested you to be here on this physical realm. So your worthiness was already given to you when you were a baby. Okay, so that is something that you need to hold true within your heart. And sometimes it takes a little while to develop that. I know for me, I had a really hard time. I was always questioning myself. I was always feeling like, okay, well, why am I here? Why am I worthy? What's the deal? What is it about me that's so special? What do I have to offer? I would just question these things like, what is my purpose? All those things that keep you in that low vibration, when you should just already know that you are worthy. When you're struggling with that, that is something that you can focus on in the mirror by doing a lot of mirror work. I know Louise Hay talks about mirror work, definitely taken on like her practices and techniques. And one of the things that she talks about is when you are in front of a mirror, you say to yourself, I love you. Right? So you say that until you fully believe that. And you can just say that to yourself when you're driving in the car, whenever you pass by a mirror, you can always say that to yourself, like, I love you. I truly, truly love you, right? And make sure you get to, at first it might be very, very difficult. I know for me, it was like, I love you. Like, it was very awkward, and I just wasn't there yet. Excuse me. So I'm drinking a green tea, and I added some coconut milk, and it's very good. I love green tea because it makes me feel very calm. A lot of the times when I drink coffee, I'm like, go, 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 like I'm ready to like rumble kind of thing. But in this space, when I am talking to you, I want to be as calm and as easy as possible. I really want you to grasp the information because I want you to embody and ease into the person that you want to become and manifest the partner that you want. When it comes to self-worth, self-love, and worthiness, you have to understand that you are the prize. As a woman, you walk into a space and your presence is the prize, right? Just like the overall nature of who you are and what you bring is what men have been fighting for, right? So, and I remember the first time I ever heard of this concept of, oh yeah, the woman is the prize, like you are the prize kind of thing. And I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, what do I bring to the table, that sort of thing. That's where your self-love and self-worth comes from. So if you have a hard time believing that, that's where you start, right? And there's no shame, there's no judgment in wherever you are in your journey. This is just one of the steps in order to receive the love that a man or woman has to offer you, right? So start with your self-worth, start with self-love, and understand that you are an important being in this world. You have to truly embody that before you can have your partner into your life. Because if you go into a relationship thinking that you're not worthy of a good man or woman, I'm just gonna say man because that's what's easy for me right now, but it's relative, right? So if you feel unworthy of this love because you don't feel like you are love, then that's going to confuse him, right? That's going to make him think, okay, well, if she's not totally loving herself, then there must be a reason why she's not totally like loving herself, right? Like she looks like a great girl to me. Like she looks totally healthy. She looks confident and she's acting confident, but she's telling me in these words that is like not the prize, right? And we do this in very subtle ways. We'll pick up on this energy of like, okay, that you can tell that person really is going through something. Some ways that you hear this is when people talk, say like, they're saying something about like a job that they want to sort of offer, and then the other person is saying, oh, like that's so good, like you deserve it, and then someone's like, oh no, like I don't know if that's me, like I don't know. A lot of people want to be humble and they want to come off as like easygoing and like not so much into themselves and stuff, but self-love is contagious and people love to be around people who are confident, who love themselves, because it is such a rare thing to find a lot of times. There's so many people who feel this way, who feel like they are not worthy. And when you encounter somebody who truly understands and knows their value and their worth, that is just so like contagious. And a lot of the times you offer that, like just by embodying that value within yourself, you're helping other people just by your sheer influence, your presence, the way that you walk, the way that you talk. Think about the impact that you have on kids when you truly love yourself. So it is so important to start with the foundation of just loving yourself and embodying that until you truly believe that. That's when I believe that you can go into a relationship. Now, let's just say you are, if you're like fully loving yourself and let's just say you're in a relationship right now. Like, so let's just say you're working on it right now, but you're still working on, you're in a relationship. So what I would do is obviously I would start practicing that right away. And because there's no harm, no foul. You don't have to like break up or anything like that. It's something that you can focus on and work on today. So the first thing I would recommend is working on your worthiness and self-love and knowing that you're the prize. Number two is ask yourself, what are you good at? Let's just say you've always had a hard time manifesting and you've just, relationships aren't your thing, but money is your thing. Or like health and fitness, your thing. Or just like so killer at learning new things and you're really good at your career. You're really good with your spirituality or your emotional health. I would focus on just getting really good at that, like capitalizing on that. So if you are somebody who's super into fitness and you're having trouble with relationships, manifesting the guy that you want, I would dive even deeper into your fitness, right? Because this is kind of where your passion lies. And when you are able to manifest something that you're already good at, for example, if you are trying to manifest a relationship, but you're good at fitness, I would focus on getting really good at that and get to manifesting your dream body or whatever it is, like your dream look, physical look, whatever it is. I would say just dive in on that and leave the other stuff on the side, because if you can show yourself that you can manifest in these other realms, if it's not relationships, that will give you the confidence to be able to manifest relationships. And from there, you can just build upon that. So it's like a domino effect, right? So you start with the thing that you're good at. So, and that's what I was saying, like I started with what I was good at. I noticed that I was really good at keeping people in my life, right? And having these intimate relationships. So that's what I focused on. Okay. Number 3 is clear your baggage. This is so important, and it's probably one of the most important things because it ties in with everything that you do, whether if it's relationships, career, fitness, whatever it is. You need to clear the baggage that you have within yourself, because that will essentially block what is coming in for you or what wants to come into you. So good. Okay. Clearing your baggage is basically clearing out your triggers. Okay. I talked about this in my other video, but when you go on a date, right? And you're having a conversation, you're having a great time, but he says something that kind of like, I don't know, just like something about the way he said it, something about what he said, something about how he looked at you, whatever it is, like it just like you felt something in your body to hear, or you felt it like in your tummy, or you felt it in the back of your head, whatever it is, like just notice that and acknowledge that you felt that within your body, because right there is a trigger. And you can use that to help you get to that next level to where you want to be. Because when you're having a conversation with somebody that you're comfortable with, there's no reason why you should feel any sort of like ickiness, right? Because you're comfortable, right? Like you're with your girlfriend and you're having a good time, and then you notice you're just having fun. But if you're with somebody new and you're with this guy on a date, and you notice that like, I don't know, just the way he said something, like that's something to explore, and you can use that to your advantage, right? You can use that to your advantage, but you also think of these things in your day-to-day experience, right? So if you're at work and you feel a shift, if you are driving and you see something and you feel a shift, there are so, I mean, at least for me, I was like the queen of triggers. Like I would get triggered about everything, and I always felt all of these like shifts, but I didn't really understand like what it was about. Like I just had a really hard time acknowledging it at first. So I just like thought that was the way my body was wired. Like I'm always dealing with these like weird things inside my body, and that's just the way I am. But it's not the way it's supposed to be. As a woman, you're supposed to feel calm. You're supposed to feel ease. You're supposed to feel love. You're supposed to feel peace and happiness, right? So if you are feeling anything other than that, then there is something that you are needing to focus on, right? To work through. And again, there is no shame whatsoever in that. I mean, I am still working through stuff. It's just the way it is. And every day that you acknowledge it and you work through it and you journal on it, things will get better. And trust me, it does. Trust me, it does. Like I am literally living proof of that. I used to have anxiety like up to here. Like honestly, like, oh my gosh, like everything would make me feel anxious. I would just have a really hard time even talking to people. Even nowadays, like I'm still working through stuff. Like one of the things that I journaled about the other day is like, I walk my dog, and for some reason I get like very nervous about like small talk with people, because I'm thinking like, oh, what if it like goes like south and we just have a really bad experience? And one of the things I journaled was whenever I see somebody and I see someone walking towards me and we're walking on the sidewalk while I'm walking my dog, I welcome them, I feel open, I'm ready, like I am just, you know, I am just here, I'm living. And a lot of the times people walk by you and they just smile and like, that's it, right? Like it's so silly, and I know it's like kind of like a minuscule example, but it's one of those things that the little things matter, and it's very important to focus on the things that are shifting within your body, right? Because your body should be your safe haven. It should be your peace. It should be your home. You know, this is what you want to take care of. This is your sanctuary, right? Because this is what you're going to have for the rest of your life experience, right? So you might as well get comfortable for a little, you know, until you're ready to level up to to the new level, right? So okay, the next one. Oh, this one is like one of my favorites. What are your non-negotiables? I love that one because I used to not have any standards. I used to just accept people. I mean, I still do. I accept people for who they are, but I don't allow people to come into my life without the boundary, without like meeting the, I guess, like the criteria that I'm like looking for. I don't allow people who are, you know, constantly lying to me come into my life and stay in my life, right? Like I accept you and like, hey, this is you are on your journey, you're on your path, but not for me, right? Maybe for somebody else, but I've learned my lesson when it comes to people, and I have non-negotiables, and you should definitely have non-negotiables when you are getting into a relationship. So some of the things that you can say as your non-negotiables are, for instance, like I want kids, right? Like that is something that I am manifesting, like that's gonna happen, like whether if I adopt or not, but that's happening. I would not want to be with somebody who has their own kids from a different woman, because I just want to have one man and have kids with that one man, and for us to have this divine union and stay together and it just be us, right? That's what I want. If for somebody else that may be okay, right? That is totally fine. Everything is relative when it comes to these non-negotiables. So again, like I don't want you to judge anyone for whatever life situation that they're in, but it's very important for you to have standards and for you to have these boundaries for what you are and are not okay with, okay? Because a lot of the times we think that, oh, like he just crossed my boundaries, like I don't know if I want to date him, or yeah, he said this on the date, but like I don't know, like I felt weird about it, and like I don't know if I can do that. It can be the smallest things that are like, for instance, like maybe a small thing for somebody is smoking, right? Maybe that's a small thing for somebody and that's not a big deal. But for another person, smoking is a huge no-no. Like, for whatever reason. It's not something that you, again, can like judge anybody for. That's kind of the beauty of knowing your worth, is knowing that you have standards, and so many people will respect you so much more because you have standards and because you have boundaries and because you have non-negotiables, right? This actually helps you in the long run for weeding out the people that you don't want, right? So if I go on a date with somebody and I notice that or he tells me that he has kids, I'm still going to enjoy my time with this person and enjoy the company and the stories that we're sharing with each other. And that's what I'm gonna repeat in my head, knowing that this is not going to continue. I'm not gonna just like walk up and leave a date. I'm just going to enjoy the time that I'm spending with this person. I'm sharing this moment on this earth with this person, and that's a beautiful thing in this space and time, right? Like this is my life experience, and I'm going to make the best of it out of every situation. You may not be the one for me, but I appreciate you. I appreciate you for spending this time with me, right? That is a graceful way to let yourself know that you have standards and you have boundaries that you respect, right? And when you respect yourself, people respect you. Trust me on that one. Next is get very clear on what you want and create a love list. Oh my gosh. So this took me a while to kind of figure out what I wanted. But when you are trying to figure out what you want, stay clear of the typical stuff, which is tall, dark, tan, and handsome type of thing. Like, yes, that is something that, you know, is attractive and stuff, but we're not just interested in attraction. I think this really helped me because when I was getting my AA in psychology, some of you may know that I was studying to be an art therapist, and you know, I've found out that this is not what I want to do right now, and maybe I will pick it up later in the future. But I was studying psychology, and one of the things that I learned was about values. And studying values is a very beautiful thing because you learn so much about yourself. And a lot of the times, what you can do is you can find your values within your triggers. So let's just use the person who's walking across the street, for example. Like, I'm triggered by small talk, right? I have a hard time like coming up with small talk. And when it comes down to is that I truly value connection, right? And I feel that small talk it can be kind of one of those like minuscule, like not so relevant conversations. And I've had felt before that this was not something that was of value, right? Come to find out that small talk is a skill, and it is a way of forming a connection with somebody, whether if you're going to the coffee shop or if you're walking your dog, right? Like, these are ways to connect with people in small ways and big impactful ways. I remember when I was depressed and I was feeling very low, I wouldn't get out much, right? Like, I closed myself off from a lot of people because I was just going through so much stuff internally. And I felt like everybody can feel that energy. But what really helped me was things like going to the grocery store and just having these like small, very light conversations with people that I didn't know. And it just felt so, I don't know, I just felt like seen, you know what I mean? Like, okay, like this person sees me, this person is engaging with me, even if it's like the littlest thing, like, oh yeah, like, oh, have you ever tried this in a recipe, that sort of thing. It just kind of like gets your mind off of things, and you just like you just share this moment with that person, and and then I've noticed like this is something that I value. I truly value connection with others. So learn what you value before getting into a relationship, right? Because you want to make sure that your values align, or at least are close to what you want. Because let's just say you want to raise kids in the future, you want to be on the same page about what kinds of things that you're interested in passing on to your children, right? And even if you don't want to have kids, it's passing on stuff that, you know, to other people, right? Like, as a couple, like, what kinds of things do you want to, what is your identity as a couple? What is the message that you want to send with people while you are together? Those are things that you want to think about once you solidify your relationship with your partner. Okay, and then so the next part of that was create a love list. And when I actually sat down and created my love list, and I'm talking about values, I'm talking about qualities, I'm talking about mannerisms, all of those things, I was just daydreaming on that. I was like, oh man, like, this person just sounds awesome. Like, I cannot wait to meet this person. Like, oh my gosh, like I like it. So you really want to just really dive into all of those things that you want. Some of the things that were on my love list was a loving partner. I wanted somebody who was respectful. I used to work at a restaurant, so somebody who was like a good tipper was like important to me. Like, somebody who like would be kind and polite at a restaurant was super important to me. But that might not be important to you, which is okay. Somebody who's driven, somebody who's loving. I just went ham. Like, I just literally wrote down so much stuff. What your love list might be different from mine, and most likely will be different from mine. And that's okay, that's a great thing, right? Because there's just so many people in the world. And so just think of it like you're ordering something at the restaurant, and you can literally have anything you want, like, at this restaurant. Like, you come up with all the juiciest things that just like get you going. And that's the beauty of dating. That is literally such a beautiful thing about dating, because when you're on a date with somebody, let's just use the example of the guy who I was talking about earlier, who had kids. So if you use that example, all these other qualities about him that you just love, right? Like he opens the door for you, or like stares like deep into your eyes while you're talking about something that you're passionate about. Like he's a good listener. All of these things you can bring into your love list. Like just think of it as you're just picking and choosing all the qualities that you want in this man. And a lot of the times, part of the reason why you haven't received the man is because you haven't gotten crystal clear on what you want, right? Maybe you need to do some more dating, you know? I want you to think of it like you are looking on a menu and you're customizing your own dish, right? And that's what you're gonna wanna do. You wanna get crystal clear. You wanna create this love list. Okay. Find these qualities in other men. Okay, so I have a story. I used to work as a nanny, and I loved the lifestyle that the wife that I worked for had. She had 2 kids, and while I was nannying, she was there too. So she was there supporting me through the whole way, and it was like my first time ever like being a private nanny. So I was like really nervous about that because I was like, oh my God, like what if something happens? But like, no, she was there the whole time. She would literally just be upstairs like chilling out, like having like a girl's day, whatever, like watching TV or whatever. Just relaxing in her queendom. So anyways, but I just like loved the lifestyle she had because it was just luxurious, and she just had this playful aura about her, and just so lighthearted and loving. I loved her. Her husband was an engineer. He was an engineer. He was a firefighter engineer. He made good money, and they had a big, beautiful house, and he provided for her. He gave her the option to work in the future if she wanted to. If not, then that's okay too. Like he was just totally like worshiping her. Like he was like, whatever you want, babe, kind of thing. And and he was so kind, so sweet, good looking guy, and just a great father. Like every time he was there, like he was just on it, right? He was a hard worker. He would build things in the house, like all of these amazing qualities about him. And she would tell me stories about him when they first dated, just basically giving her the things that she wanted, right? Anything that she desired. And it was just a beautiful, magical relationship. And I was like, wow, like I did not think that men are like that. Like I didn't know there was men that still do that. And so I was like, I would just admire their relationship. I respect them so much. And so what I would do is I would just honestly just like amplify all of those qualities that I enjoyed about him and about their relationship in general. So like I said, all of those things that I mentioned, great father, good looking, helpful, strong, hardworking, provider, all of these things, like I used those qualities that I've noticed in other men, whether if I was dating them or not, and I would put that in my love list. And since I put that in my love list, I would appreciate that whenever I encountered it. So if a man, yesterday actually, I was at the gym and this man comes up to me and he's like, while I was like doing this like back exercise, and he's like, oh, let me help you. Like, this is how you're supposed to do it, by the way. Like, you know, he's just like kind of teaching me on it. And I was like, and I'm just like thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, like, thank you for providing that information for me. That is so sweet of you, right? Like I really appreciate your help, right? Because men love to teach other women. Like they really absolutely love it. Sorry, I'm getting some text messages. So they absolutely love just being so helpful. Like men innately like to provide. They like to be there for you. So if you can make them feel like wanted and appreciated, they're going to be so drawn to you, right? So find those qualities that you notice in men. Even if you're on a date and you're realizing, like I said, that this is not like halfway through the date, 5 minutes in the date, like this is not the guy that I want. Like absolutely know that for sure. Just appreciate his conversation. Like, he is providing information for you that you did not know, right? Hopefully it's like a good story. Just appreciate though, because that will take you to get you closer to the next person who's your mate. And then maybe that's not the person, maybe the person after and the person after. And just think of it, it's like almost like a game, right? Like, you're just going to keep getting closer and closer, and use appreciation as your way of navigating through that. I hope that makes sense. But it worked for me, and I know it can work for you. Okay, the next thing I wanted to say was, do not shame other men. So I remember when I was getting out of college and I was out of my relationship with my ex, and there was just these like songs and stuff that were like my friends and I would listen to, and the way that we would talk to each other was just not okay. So this is a mistake that I definitely made, and I've made so many mistakes. But it's okay, right? Like, we learn from them and then we move forward. One of the things that we would say was like, oh yeah, fuck guys, like fuck men, like whatever, like who, like we don't need them, like kind of thing. All of that stuff, but all of that is like shaming men and like such negative energy. And if I say like, oh yeah, fuck a man, like no, I don't want them, like I can do without kind of thing, then that's going to be what you receive, right? You're going to receive fuckboys, right? Like guys who are, if they do come into your life, like guys who don't actually want anything serious, and guys who are just not healthy for you. So just be respectful, like I said, and don't shame men for where they're at, because they're going through their own journey, and they don't understand women, right? We have a hard time understanding ourselves, right? So it's very, very rare when a man actually understands a woman. We are so complex, and we are delicate, right? I mean, yes, there are times where we have to be kind of like that boss bitch kind of person and just kind of take control. And I know we all have that within us, but when we are getting into a relationship, we want to feel safe, we want to feel seen, and we want to feel heard. So these are the things that I want you to focus on when it comes to meeting a man, when it comes to engaging with a man. And maybe that's a non-negotiable for you. Maybe not feeling seen or heard or any of those things, those qualities can basically be like, okay, thank you for even if he's like not, let's just say he's not listening, he's not really seeing you, and he's just like not there, right? Even that information is valuable. You know what I mean? Like, that's when you're like, okay, thank you for providing that information for me. Like, I see that you're not the best listener, and I appreciate that, you know, I am receiving this, because now I know this is a non-negotiable for me. I'm writing that on my love list that I want my man to be a great listener, right? Every time I speak, he's looking in my eyes. He's giving me his full body attention. Like, this is what I want, full body listening. Maybe that's like your non-negotiable. If somebody is not listening, that's not the guy for you, right? So just take every person into account, even if they have the qualities that you're not looking for. Appreciate, because it helps you kind of figure out what you do want, right? Okay. Next one is be the reciprocal of your love list. Okay, so when I say be the reciprocal, if you are writing something like loyalty or respect on your love list, and that's what you choose to have, or somebody who's happy, are you those things, right? Are you somebody who is trusting? Are you somebody who is lighthearted, who can take a joke and is a happy person? Are you somebody who is respectful to others? Are you respectful to yourself? Are you respectful to your family? Are these the things that you are embodying yourself, right? These are things that I want you to kind of help guide you through this journey, because if you're noticing like, oh, I just had this conversation with my mom and I noticed I noticed that I was being disrespectful to her. I wasn't looking at her, or I wasn't really listening to her. All of these things matter, right? And you just notice them. You don't judge yourself. You notice it, like, okay, I saw that I was being disrespectful. I wasn't listening. That's something I want to work on. Accept it, right? Accept it and move forward, right? So when we take accountability for who we are and where we're at, that's how we know we can grow and move forward, right? And it's all about building this momentum and just getting better and better and better and better every day without judgment, right? Okay. I already kind of touched on this, but appreciate the dates that you have, because they are still providing you with information that is useful to you, whether if it's something that you want or not want. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was a 4-step process of embodying the love list that you have, or manifesting anything that you want, right? So let's just say the person that I manifested is somebody who basically allowed me to be my complete self, who loves me and who thinks about me all the time, who worships me and only wants to be with me. Like, those are some of the qualities and things that I wanted in my partner. So back in the day, this was something that was like totally foreign to me, because yes, I've had boyfriends and stuff in the past, but I've never had somebody, truly worship me in a sense of like, they just totally valued the things that I said, right? And that's what I mean by worship. I don't mean it in like the other way, like dominatrix type stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking more about somebody who just respects you, right? So back in the day, this was something that I had a really hard time like embodying, because I felt like I wasn't worthy of that, right? So I created this 4 stages of manifesting when it comes to anything, but you can use this for your dream partner. So the first stage is introducing the idea, right? So introducing the idea is just like somebody kind of brings it up, or you fall upon something like, for instance, when I was talking about the family that I used to nanny, and I noticed that the husband in the relationship was providing for her, completely providing for her. And I was like, well, I don't know guys do that. Okay. Like, I was introduced to the idea, and I was like, there's no way there's like guys who actually still do that. And like, he's probably like the last one. I was like actually thinking that, but I was introduced to the idea. So I moved from that, and I was like, you know what? Let's just throw it into my love list. Why not? Stage 2 is practice makes progress. So when I say that, it's just like, that's the appreciation process, right? So when you encounter the other man and you notice like, oh wow, he's being the way he talks to her, he's so respectful. Like, I appreciate that so much. Or the way he's listening to me, it just is making me feel so seen and so heard, and I just like love that. I appreciate that so much. And you appreciate it, it doesn't even have to be with just men, it can be with anybody that you encounter. It could be women, like it can be with your dog, right? Like, you're talking to your dog and you're just having like this like venting conversation with your dog. I don't know if anybody's ever done that before, but yeah, and you just appreciate, like, thank you for being such a great listener, even if it's your dog. But just practicing that, like, constantly, that's part of your worthiness, like embodying that appreciation of respect, of being seen, of being heard. These are things that you want to keep practicing until it is instilled into your brain, which moves us to stage 3, which is your environment, right? Your environment somehow introduces it to you. So whether if it's a man that you go out on a date with and he's listening to you intently and he's so respectful and you're like, ooh, like this is something that I've been practicing in my head and like gathering from other people and thinking about, right? And journaling on. And you're introduced to that, right? So appreciate that. It is introduced into your environment, right? But let's just say he's a great listener, he's respectful, but you're not very attracted to him look-wise, which is okay. Appreciate what you do want, right? Don't focus on what you don't want. Appreciate what you do want, okay? So when it shows up in your environment, that means you're getting closer. Okay, so don't self-sabotage yourself by saying, oh yeah, he's a great listener, but he was like not cute. Like I didn't like his whatever hair or whatever, chest hair, whatever. But focus on what you do want. And then that brings us to stage 4, which is practice makes progress. So yes, I did put that in stage 2, but this is practice makes progress in the action steps. So all of it kind of like is one thing, but the action steps is basically continuing that process, right? And understanding that, okay, it's introduced into my head and I'm practicing that. Now I'm seeing it in my environment and I'm still practicing it in my head, but I'm also practicing by appreciating and telling people, like let's just use the example of on a date, like with this person that you're not like very attracted to, but he's a great listener, and you say, you are such a great listener, thank you so much for spending this time with me, I really appreciated it, I felt so seen and so heard, and I just wanted to let you know that like I just really enjoyed my time with you, right? And that's a graceful way of giving a compliment to somebody that would really it would really pull their heartstrings, right? Because it's not based on their looks, but it's on the quality of their character, which is like, I don't know, for me, like those types of compliments are like, they go so much further than like, oh, you're beautiful kind of thing. It's like, okay, thank you, but how am I making you feel? Like how am I up-leveling you? That sort of thing. So people really love compliments that are based on their character. Okay, so that pretty much sums up the video. If you guys have any questions about how to manifest your dream partner, let me know in the comments below. I can also get a little bit more into my story with my man. I would just say that all of these things, like I have practiced myself, and I wouldn't be telling you all this stuff if it didn't work for me. Literally, my man is like everything that I've ever wanted and more. And I'm just so grateful and so appreciative of everything that he does. I am literally in awe of him every day that I'm with him. So it is totally possible, and I want you to believe that you are so worthy of having the things that you desire. You are so worthy of it. So if you like this type of content, go ahead and like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!